You're watching live coverage from the CBT News Stage at the 2024 NADA Show in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick at the 2024 NADA Convention in beautiful Las Vegas. And look who I have with me right now, Mr. Alex Vetter, who is the co-founder and CEO of Cars Commerce, right? Was Cars.com.
Well, look, our consumer brand, Jim, is always going to be Cars.com.
Okay.
It's a household name. I'm really pleased that in 2023 we set an all-time record for traffic. So our consumer brand is never going to change.
Okay.
But Cars Commerce is really what the industry, we believe, needs to migrate towards, which is OEMs and dealers working together to use technology to make this industry more efficient.
Sure.
And so when you look at our technology solutions, that's the common thread, is we want to integrate dealer websites with trade-in tools and online financing and brands with OEMs, getting dealers and OEMs to work better together to facilitate commerce.
Right. Is this really been a result of kind of all of the acquisitions you've been making over the years to kind of plug those holes?
It certainly is a big part of that. Through Dealer Inspire, building websites for now, over 6,500 dealerships.
Wow.
AccuTrade technology now being used across dealerships all over the country to source inventory.
Sure.
Credit IQ working with lenders to get their tech integrated.
Dealer-Rater.
So what we've seen over the industry, though, is that manufacturer personnel are wanting to control the customer experience. Dealerships are wanting to control the customer experience. We kind of believe the consumer is the one who ultimately is in control, and that if we can get out of each other's way and bring dealer interest and OEM interest together, we can help car companies take market share and dealers to grow in the process. And so we really want to facilitate commerce for the whole industry.
Is that like trying to settle the conflict in the Middle East when you try to bring dealers and OEMs together for a common cause?
Well, I do think the data will support that the manufacturers that work in supporting their dealer partners tend to take more market share because they're putting 100% of their capital to help promote their CPO programs, to drive traffic to their service lane, whatever they got to do. Because, look, it's a good division of labor, if you ask me. The car companies focus on building great products. The dealerships do a phenomenal job taking care of the customer. And if everybody sticks to their swim lane, technology can facilitate it, and we can have a lot of fun in the process.
And the consumer comes out ahead, right?
Completely ahead.
For sure. So talk to us. What are the three dealer pain points Cars Commerce found in the recent survey that you all conducted?
Well, the number one obvious on a lot of people's minds is that with demand softening, whether that's interest rates or just the current environment, they need more traffic and acquiring that cost effectively on their inventory. And so this has always been a permanent challenge for the industry, but we're coming out of a period where we had low inventory supply and high demand. It's getting harder out there. And so all of our partners are looking at what ways can you do to help me syndicate my inventory out there, get more car buyers on my inventory and keep my turn rates going. So I think that's the obvious number one. Number two, because of that waning profitability concern, every dealership who isn't thinking about how to use technology to get rid of legacy costs is missing the boat. And so we're really excited with AccuTrade and some of our other technology solutions. Dealerships are doing twice as much on a fraction of the cost. And that's a big way to source inventory more cost effectively than going to auction.
That's right.
And we've got dealers now that have shown up this year saying, I'm using AccuTrade and I haven't been to the auction in a year. I'm sourcing 100% of my inventory from my customers and trade-ins, and it's generating me new sales along the way, and they're becoming self-sufficient. And we think that's a big trend that we can enable for the industry.
We had Mr. Kramer on, and who's heading that initiative up for you, I believe, and he told me of a story, had the dealer on, where they were doing literally 1,500 appraisals in this dealer's service lane. Talk to us about that. That's very impressive.
The cool thing is if you listen to the consumer, they're going to take you to where we need to go. They are overwhelmed with, choices. And so if you can show them a transparent upfront price that's detailed and itemized out as to what their car is worth, and importantly, show it to them on a grid that shows how Cars.com can validate this is what the car is worth, consumer trust goes way up. And the dealership no longer is the bad guy giving the information, but rather a detailed diagnostic of the car is transparently showing the way. And so Dealerships that
so
are
vitally
leading with
important.
transparency are taking market share, and they're using technology to enable that.
And if you've got that as a manager, used car manager, sales manager, salesperson, to validate that, and it takes it right out of the idea that, well, the used car manager thinks your car is worth the X number of dollars. And there ensues the fight between the consumer and the used car manager or the desk person or what have you, and it never goes well. But if you could bring that kind of technology and that support of those numbers to the consumer, that's huge.
And you remove the dealership as being a point of friction, and rather they're the hero, right? We know what needs to happen on this car. Here's what we would have to fix on it. I've got the new 2024 models in stock. Let's work this deal, and I can get you in the new one, and get you out of these problems. It's turning the dealership from being an adversary to a hero, and technology has that power to do that.
And what I was impressed with was the speed in which AccuTrade does that.
I mean, you can remember going and getting your car appraised at the dealership used to be an afternoon.
Oh my God!
And now we're appraising vehicles in under 4 minutes, and so the consumer is getting not only a real number, but detailed out everything wrong with the car. But, now that's why dealers are able to give a trade-in value on every service customer, even if they're coming in for an oil change, before they leave that store. Tell them what their car is worth and increase the likelihood that they're going to come back to you every time.
And what's the number one complaint every consumer has? It takes too long to buy a car. And in many cases, it was hung up in that trade appraisal process, especially if it was a Saturday afternoon and they were 6 deep and the used car manager's trying to appraise them, hitting them all wrong because they're racing through them. You know what I mean? They're either in it too low or they're in it too high.
Well, I think this industry has lived on the deal for decades. And I think we're shifting as an industry, which is really exciting, to being a great experience. I've talked about dealers got to think less about deals and more about creating great retail experiences, using tech to light the way. And those that do that, the customer, is appreciating that transparency and that technology-driven experience.
No question about it. Before I let you get away from us, talk to us a little bit about some of the major trends that you see coming about in 2024.
Well, I do think increasingly the manufacturers and dealers have got to get on the same page to optimize for growth. And we've come out of a period where manufacturers listen to dealerships, dealerships listen to manufacturers about direct-to-consumer models, and we think it's a fool's errand. I mean, if you look at even some of the digital-only dealerships, it's very tough to sell cars profitably at scale. And therefore, the balance sheet is best divided amongst those that build cars and those that sell cars. So I do think the big trend is this industry is going to come closer together. They're going to facilitate commerce by helping each other out, and we're going to see less friction between manufacturers and dealerships. At least those that do that are going to take outsized market share.
That's right. Two little letters that are so powerful right now, EV. What's your take on the EV situation we find ourselves in right now?
Well, look, I think it's telling that even the most progressive EV company in the world is now listing their cars on cars.com, and you can find a Tesla on cars.com. It shows that no matter where you are in your product cycle, marketing your inventory is increasingly important to make sure that everybody can see your product, learn about it, get ratings and reviews, and being transparent with how you're marketing your cars. EV volume are way up and demand has softened a bit, but we think through education we can get that EV trend going in the right direction. People want to know, my driving radius in terms of battery time. We've added battery duration is data on cars.com, so consumers can see how long a charge will take and how many stations they're at. So education is needed for EVs to grow, and we're an ideal platform to help facilitate that.
Do you think that you think the OEMs jumped the gun a little bit on
I think everybody got overexcited about it before the infrastructure was truly there. But I also think we're in the early innings of this thing. So there's plenty of time
to figure it out.
And to meet the customer where they are and show them how new products can actually answer what they're looking for.
That's right. Hey, if you're out here and you're listening to this conversation right now, you've got to make your way over to Cars Commerce. As you can see, Alex has put together an incredible suite of programs to help dealers facilitate more sales, sell more cars for less money. And that's what we all like in the business. So Alex Vetter, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
it.
Have a great rest of the show.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the live coverage from the CBT News Stage at the 2024 NADA Show.